Welcome back, Monarchs. Call of Olympus has loads of interesting mounts, but since you have a limited supply of gems, you'll need to select which ones you unlock wisely. In this video, I'll go over how much it costs to unlock each mount, their mechanics, and some recommendations about which god powers to pair with them, or some interesting interactions, like being able to use Artemis's bow in the air to rain arrows down on the greed, or the fact that the god powers don't impact the ghosts summoned by Cerberus, and so on. Unlike the previous settings in Kingdom 2 Crowns, the majority of mounts are on random islands, so mastering a handful of mounts helps if you are unlucky and only find the mount you want at the end of your run. Also, with the 2.0 update, the mounts now have an animation when they're finished recharging their stamina or grazing, so you're less likely to cancel that animation. In this video, I'll mostly discuss the mount's grazing, if it can recharge anywhere or requires forest areas. The rest graze on grassland. Starting with mounts that help your economy. The donkey costs 2 gems and 2 coins to unlock, and is fairly slow and has poor stamina. Its ability is to drop bread, which can be used to recruit vagrants or pay off the greed. The bread has a 10-second cooldown, and I also tested if it despawns like coins do. Turns out the bread significantly outlasts coins, making it really good for remote recruiting. Speedrunners often use the strategy of leaving coins at vagrant camps for any spawning vagrants, especially if it's behind the nearest portal so it can't be stolen by greed. Since the bread lasts longer, it can definitely be used for remote recruiting. Another point is that the gem keeper is found in the background of the donkey camp. You do not need to buy the donkey to use the gem keeper, and you can pay up to 10 coins to retrieve any lost gems, hermits, or the dog. If you don't remember what island it's on, after you visit it, be sure to check the map and look for the gem symbol on the map. Next, the Great Stag. The Great Stag has a set island, which is Artemis Island or the top left of the map, and it costs 1 gem to unlock and 3 coins to mount. The Great Stag is required for Artemis quests, so be sure to save 1 gem to unlock it. I'm honestly not sure what happens if you use all your gems before coming to this island, but it is necessary to complete the quest. The Stag is quite fast in forest areas, but is slower in open spaces. Aside from the quest, Stag can be used to charm deer, which you can lure back to your archers to hunt. Each deer is worth 3 coins, making it worthwhile to pay off the greed and go scouting for deer in the nighttime, at least in the early to mid game. Next, the bear, which can be found in a cave with a beehive above it. It costs 3 gems to unlock and 8 coins to mount. The bear was specifically mentioned in the 2.0 Kingdom dev blog post as being overhauled in all biomes. It has a lower cost and improved stamina and attack. It also regains a small bit of stamina whenever it hits another animal. So, the bear is used to hunt critters and deer and helps with income if you don't have slingers hunting for you. If you run through the animals, it damages them and regains stamina. It takes 1 hit to kill critters and 2 hits to kill deer. The stamina is decent, especially if there's a lot of animals to hit, however not so good if there's nothing to hunt. The bear can also damage greed, but seems to lose stamina after hitting each one. So if you charge towards a large wave of greed, you will eventually just stop and run out of stamina. Generally speaking, I'd avoid using the bear's ability on greed unless there's only a small number of them. Overall, the econ mounts are useful in the early game, but fall off once the greed numbers scale and make it too expensive to pay off the greed in the nighttime. Also, since you can bring lots of money earning units like farmers and hoplites to each island, they're a little less useful. Moving on to utility and mobility mounts. First, the Draft Horse. It's a cheap mount which costs 1 gem and 4 coins to unlock. It's slightly faster than the starting horse, but it has significantly more stamina. Next, the Water Horse or Hippocampus. Look for the fishing station with the coral reflection in the water. To start fishing, it costs 3 gems, 1 coin to cast the line, and 1 coin to reel it in. Wait till the line pulls to reel it in. If you don't pull the line in, it will snap. If timed correctly, you'll get a random fish and some money. After fishing successfully the third time, you'll get the water horse. The water horse costs 8 coins to mount and gains speed as you tap the sprint button. It has great stamina and can also recharge its stamina anywhere. Like the skateboard in Kingdom 80s, if you spam the sprint button, it will stall. So, it's best to tap the sprint button a few times to get good speed, then slowly to maintain a good speed without burning too much stamina. The incredible movement speed and ability to graze anywhere makes this mount exceptional on larger islands, especially in winter. Next, the spider or arachne. To unlock the spider, look for the building covered in webs and cocoons. It costs 3 gems to unlock and 8 coins to mount. The spider mount has good stamina and runs quite fast in the forest. However, it can only graze or recharge its stamina in forest areas, so it's less useful once you clear the forest areas out on an island. The spider mount's ability is to spin a web on the ground which slows all greed that walks into it. You can have a maximum of 3 webs in the ground at one time, and it'll drain the spider's stamina, so you'll need to graze to recharge. The webs left by the spider are extremely useful in keeping greed in range of your units but unable to attack. For example, in front of the walls when defending and portals when attacking. It can also be used to protect retreating units. Another good use is clumping units, so Athena's shield is able to hit more of them. Next, the Day or Night Chariot, or Hemera and Nyx. The Day or Night Chariot can be found with 2 statues of Hemera or Nyx. Pay 3 gems to one or the other goddess, and you'll see the center column depict a scene. When that's complete, it will lower that version of the chariot. The Day Chariot is significantly faster during the day, whereas the Night Chariot is faster in the evening. Either chariot's ability is a significant burst of speed that makes the chariot the fastest mount at the right time of day. Next, Pegasus. The Pegasus is one of 2 mounts that doesn't cost any gems. It can be found looking like a stone statue with a snake around its neck. To unpetrify it, activate Athena's shield and it will restore Pegasus. It costs 10 coins to mount, has medium speed and decent stamina, but its main ability is to do a large leap or fly a fair distance. It has 2 charges of that ability before needing to graze to recharge them. Normally, the artifacts or weapons from the gods lock you in place whenever you activate or use the ability. However, while you have Pegasus, you can use the ability in the air, so you're able to keep moving forward. For example, you can rain arrows from above the greed, or you can even convert greed with Hermes' staff whilst in the air. Whereas for Athena's shield, the petrifying or freezing blast is extended by the leap, allowing you to freeze a larger amount of greed during the jump, and especially as you land. While I wouldn't say it's necessary to use the abilities while you're in the air, it is pretty cool. Of course, for those people who don't like running past portals to recruit, you can also use the extended jump to leap over the portals. Next, the Griffin. The Griffin falls from the sky and costs 2 gems to unlock and 8 coins to mount. The Griffin has good speed and decent stamina, but again, the main benefit is that it can graze anywhere, meaning it's great for winter. The Griffin's ability is to push back greed, but the push is minimal on larger greed like the slugs or breeders. Regardless, forcing the greed to stack makes them an easy target for god powers like the bow or Athena's shield. Next, the Big Dog or Mastiff. This dog can be found lying next to a burning house and costs 3 gems to unlock and 8 coins to mount. In terms of speed, it's fairly slow and has pretty poor stamina. Similar to the spider, it can only graze in forest areas. When you activate its ability, it barks, providing a buff to your units for roughly 8 seconds, as shown by the green flashing. The buffed units run faster and might attack faster, making everything more efficient, such as running to farms, attacking, going out to build or expand, etc. This ability could be considered good in winter, where your farmers have to run long distances to get income from berry bushes, or just when attacking. Since it does buff your units, a good pairing is Hephaestus' hammer. The utility and mobility mounts are all useful in different situations, but are quite good in single player where you have to manage a large kingdom by yourself. In general, most of the utility-based abilities can be paired very well with different god powers. On to the damaging mounts. First there's Cerberus. Cerberus, or the three-headed dog, has its own unique dog gems used to unlock the mount. The doggy gems can be found on any greedlings on the island. You'll see them carrying it around. This includes evening waves and even the greed defending portals. To unlock Cerberus, look for the giant gates to the underworld, which requires 3 dog gems to unlock. Cerberus costs 12 coins to mount, has medium movement speed, and can only eat bones on grass. Unlike some of the other mounts with abilities, grazing does not help to reset that cooldown. Cerberus' ability is to summon a squad of ghosts that charge at the enemy. The squad has a knight and 4 slingers, making it quite tanky and deal a lot of damage. To maintain the summons, you must keep the squad within the mist that surrounds Cerberus. If you run too far away from the squad or leave them behind, then they'll despawn. Once they despawn, the mist disappears, and then the ability will go on cooldown for 30 seconds. Since it summons slingers, it's the only mount that can damage portals, which of course helps with completing a lot of the god's quests. Interestingly, the ghosts are unaffected by any god powers. As you can see in this clip, the ghost squad is within Hephaestus' hammer buff, but they're not burning greed. They are also unaffected by Athena's shield and do not get petrified if you're using it. The main issue I encountered when using this mount is if you come up against crown stealers and are in the open. They may force you out of range of the ghost squad, forcing them to despawn. Other than that, Cerberus is a good mount for those that like to sit back and let their units do most of the work. Next, the Chimera. The Chimera can be found in a large cave sealed by a giant boulder. It costs 3 gems to remove the boulder with builders, meaning you'll have to clear any portals blocking the way if necessary. Once cleared, it costs 4 coins to lure out the Chimera and 10 coins to mount. In terms of movement, the Chimera has good move speed and decent stamina. Its ability is to leap while breathing fire. You have 3 charges of this ability before you have to graze and recharge its stamina. The leap already deals some damage, but coupled with the burning can do significant damage over time. With the leap, you're able to solo entire waves of greed and complete some objectives by yourself. The Chimera does excellent damage and excels at both attack and defense. But since it's a leap, it'll likely cost you some money and puts the dog at significant risk. The Chimera pairs well with most god powers, but larger greed that are burning will not stay petrified for long. Keep in mind that to swap mounts, you'll need to buy the Stable Hermit to upgrade farms to the 3rd tier. Each farm can house 3 mounts. Overall, I prefer using the Econ mount in the early game, and then eventually prefer the Chimera to solo objectives. I feel like all the mounts have their place, especially when you're playing a longer game or are playing in co-op. Here's a quick table with the mount gem cost and coin cost, along with the grazing in case you missed it. Thanks everybody for watching. Consider liking and subscribing for more Call of Olympus content. See you all next time.